In the bottom right hand corner, our red Terran player from Onside Gaming. This is Maru. As in the top left, our blue Protoss from Psystorm is MaxPax. If you saw a bunch of Blink play from Trigger, I would honestly be shocked to see anything but a bunch of Blink play from MaxPax. Maybe some Phoenix as well, I suppose, but you just know as well, he just truly loves that Blink play. But then again, last time I saw him play Maru, or my most memorable time watching him play Maru, I maybe didn't actually fully see the last time they played, but I always remember MaxPax playing like some very good Phoenix Colossus into some very good defensive games, and then forcing Maru into like a late game, but then also being able to hang with him there, and even win some of those games. So, in general, a bunch of reasons why you should kind of be excited for this. Genuinely feel like this could be a very cool matchup, as we do have our first barracks coming down. We'll see what sort of style Maru makes of this. Obviously, both these players, interestingly enough, are 0-1 in the group, so even though these guys are favorites to make it out of this group, neither of them are going to have a winning... Well, one of them will not have a winning record, or neither will have a winning record at the end of this match, because obviously Maru lost to Serral, and MaxPax lost to Showtime already in this one. So that really is a little bit wild when you consider that. Definitely a fun little factor. I mean, again, you kind of expect whoever of these two is 0-2 to perhaps be able to make that comeback and probably be able to be, you know, coming back to, you know, a winning sort of scoreline in this group and just turn it around completely. But, like I say, it is perhaps a little surprising. Should be fun, though. Let's see how it goes as we just have our Reaper on the way out. The factory is on the way up. Get this up and running for the first few moments. Right at the start of this game. Number 1. Look to see how things will head. CC on the way up. Factory coming out. Reactor building. Again, some typical kind of bits and pieces already being set out ahead of us for the moment here. Got our Twilight Council building up as well. So again, that Twilight Council up and running too. Our Adept going to come in after the Reaper for a few moments. Just going to try and get a little bit of a pick on that, if at all possible. Again, just kind of keeping our pressure up, keeping our action going. Reaper obviously wants to just find some info already. The Zealot is kind of poking at the front, mind you, and that's something which MaxPax is going to be very good at. He is a very kind of early game aggressive player. He will not hold back when it comes to putting on some pressure throughout the early stages of a game. And this is absolutely, so far, a pretty perfect example of exactly that. Just showing up with these first few units, putting, you know, getting up and into the face of his opponent. Blink coming up, Warp Gate coming out. Just again, a few different bits and pieces just on the way through for the moment. As we just have our Reaper going to go up against a couple of those probes. Probe's going to get a full surround on the Reaper, which is a little bit, well, surprising, because obviously we expect Maru to be very good at just paying attention to every single one of his units. Maybe a little preoccupied setting up this drop or so, though. That's like I say, I was a little shocked to see that Reaper just getting fully surrounded and shut down there. That was absolutely not what I expected to see in that portion of the game. So yeah, a little bit of a surprise already, kind of ahead of us here in this TvP. Now the drop from Maru heads into the main base. How good is this going to be as the Widowmine gets burrowed? Unburrows. A few probes already going down. The pressure from Maru is building that little bit. A few more probes will drop. I mean, this is really nice. 4 workers. Potential of 5. We've got the Widowmine that's just not firing yet. Goes for a Stalker that splashes a probe. Could not really get better. A Stalker kill on top of the probe damage is really just icing on the cake. This is already looking to be a very good opening in these early stages of the game. Yeah, this is going real wrong real quick on the side of MaxPax. 13 workers now killed. So the damage is just going to keep on growing. this really is just going to keep getting worse if we don't start to do something about it real soon. Uh-oh. Banshee shows up, detection not currently available nearby, and so we're just going to go running and running and running and accepting perhaps that this is not going to be what we wanted to be or what we needed to be or anything of the sorts. MaxPax is just getting absolutely dismantled early game by Maru. Maru is not messing around. There is not much else to say than that. This is quite simply going to be a convincing start from our Terran player. I mean, Storks come across the map and they will put on some pressure. They will come through to do something, but there's a Banshee here that they can't fight. There's a tank, there's a bunker. The defense is perfect on the side of Maru, and if the defense is perfect, there's really nothing you can do in that situation to kind of fight out of this one, honestly. There's not really anything we can do to fight out of this one. Stalkers and Zards will try and lead the charge forward. We do have our attempt to break this bunker down, but again, Maru just getting more and more units up, and with the current worker lead, again, it shouldn't really start getting any better for MaxPax. It should just get worse and worse from his point of view, unfortunately. This is, again, just that kind of situation where things are, I think, again, just truly too far gone. Here to bring some less than interesting commentary. MaxPax's army supply, yes, is good. I would just genuinely be so shocked if he was able to have enough to break through this at the front. I think that would still genuinely surprise me, so that's why I guess I'm being so kind of harsh on my commentary, because I don't see this army doing well enough. I don't see the excitement kind of like, oh, this is the possibility, this is the moment. Like, MaxPax would need Maru to really fall asleep on the keyboard if Maru's units weren't going to be able to find at least a good enough fight to slow this down. So like I say, that's why I'm kind of struggling to find the little bit of excitement that you might want from me. Because this defense looks absolutely rock solid. It is not going anywhere. It's not being broken down. Not in the slightest. What a great game from Maru, just kind of coming in, showing some very good, pressure to start out with, just coming straight through with some, good attacks, and just not wasting time kind of getting down to it at the end of the day either, I don't think. It's really just going to turn into a very convincing game from him. Like I say, he's just got to kind of go through the motions against this Stalker essentially all in at this point. He just lose a few SCVs. There is a little bit of the pullback for the moment from MaxPax, a little bit of what he's looking for to try drag this game through to a different stage, try and find something with this. As our Stalkers come in again, but still not really able to find enough to start making changes. As our Marines and our Marauders come through one more time. Stalkers and a Zealot will begin to move through. Just going to go jump onto a siege tank initially, so will that be the grab we need to change everything? He will get the bunker as well, but now Maru's army supply is up by about 15. Before it was a little bit more of an even army supply. MaxPax started to build up a few more workers, but he's still down by 12 in that regard. Maru's also about to have stim, so he's moving away from all of these tech units being good at kind of keeping him alive. Just straight up just a bioforce that can do so much more than just keep you alive. It can go on the map and fight if it needs. Number 2. In the bottom left, the man that really just dismantled his opponent throughout the course of game number 1. This is going to be Maru from Onside Gaming. His opponent in the upper right is going to be the blue Protoss player from Storm. It is MaxPax. And into game number 2. Alrighty, let's get this one started then, guys. Let's see what the heck we're going to do with this. If Maru's just going to kind of go aggressive from the very get-go again, or if he has perhaps a few other plans along the way. Yeah, it's not like Maru has to be aggressive, right? We know Maru can be a bit more of a passive player if he needs to be. We know he's maybe one of the very best at kind of just slowing down the game if he ever feels like he has to. And that sometimes can just be at the very start. Like, he doesn't always feel the need to kind of just go, go, go. That's on a map like Royal Blood. It's pretty reasonable to just sort of say, yeah, I can kind of go, right? I've got a setup here that can kind of just commit a little bit and just sort of send it, so wouldn't be super against him kind of testing the water for that if he feels like that could be the way to go about things. Like I say, it's really just a waiting game to see what his build order is going to be. It is going to be a factory before we expand, which obviously leans a little bit more towards creating some pressure early, so that's already a little bit of a tell, perhaps, as to what we can maybe expect. Factory is coming up to finish in a few moments, and as that finishes, we will see a Stargate on the way from MaxPax. So there is the, I guess, the alternate choice from him in terms of what he can do. We discussed at the very start of the series, hey, you know, what kind of things can MaxPax do? Well, we know he loves his blink, tried that in the first game, didn't go well. Well, here's the other thing. Stargate, most likely Phoenix-based play. Would be kind of shocked to see, like, Oracles into, like, a later blink. Not just because this doesn't really kind of blend with what MaxPax usually likes to do, but also just because I feel like that really opens itself to a lot of the pressure and a lot of the aggression that can come out of the Terran player. Like, Oracles into delayed blink feels like one of the, maybe not least safe, but it definitely feels like one of the most flimsy ways to get set up and one of the flimsier ways to play in general. There's just so many moments where you maybe don't quite have enough. Defending becomes a little bit rough. It can definitely get difficult. So we've seen a couple Marines continuing out. Reaper has been out and about as well. And so you have Phoenix indeed are going to be the initial choice. Again, no surprises. MaxPax very much so playing to current expectations. Widow Mine. Just gonna pop a Phoenix there, but obviously doesn't get a kill, just brings it a little bit low. Not really too much else to say about that, as a few more Marines will unload from this medevac. Medevac and the Marines continue to just move around a little bit. Continue to get a little bit of scouting off. Phoenix obviously trying to keep things back as well, stop anything from being too much of an issue. Generally a pretty good goal for the Phoenix, and obviously A, keeps you informed as to what is happening, and B, just lets you again make good choices when it comes to deciding what to do, deciding if you need to kind of move forward and defend. Ideally, you don't lose Phoenix, though, right? And these Phoenix have been taking a little bit of a beating. Obviously, that means they're just that little bit lower now for further down the line, so potentially could be perhaps a little bit of a problem. Marines, Cyclones joining up. Just for a few. Again, just obviously Maru just decided now is the time to back it up and play a little bit more defensive again. Tries to make his way into the main base, and the Phoenix, to be fair, they do grab the Raven. Those Phoenix are playing with death. Jesus. They are so low. Each and every one of them feels like it's on the verge of dying, and a Widowmine shot this time will not just connect, but obviously actually go through for the kill, because these Phoenix are just low enough it can get the kill. Actually able to succeed on that one. Cyclone's coming through, little lock on. Gonna be good to knock down an observer there. I mean, again, Maru is... It's funny because, like I say, it feels as though Maru's been almost dominant out and about on the map. It feels like he's almost found a lot of openings. It feels like he's almost found a bunch of damage. And it just has been a lot of kind of getting a lot of Phoenix low, but not really finishing them off. And so you're kind of still in... I'm kind of still in this position where I'm like, okay, I feel good for Maru. But MaxPax has done, in the end, a very good job of preserving his units. Even if they're not on high HP, he's done the important part of still keeping them alive. Maybe now you could argue that they're a little bit less active on the map than they should be because they're a little bit scared of being caught out or something along those lines as well. But I don't know, man. Looks like MaxPax is going to be feeling pretty good for himself right now as well, as we see him going into those Colossi. Those numbers are obviously stacking up as we speak, so that is just getting better and better. Fourth Nexus. Just going to be dropping into place. Maru knows about it. He's got tanks here to defend his own third. MaxPax maybe feeling like there was something of an opportunity here as he pokes around. At the end of the day, if he's just poking around, this is pretty harmless. He does have, force fields to back him off. He roughly knows the timing of things as well. He should know that there's no stim pack on the, on the map just yet. It might be close, but he knows not just yet. So like I say, he's fairly safe to have been out on the map up until now. And that's exactly why MaxPax has been able to kind of sit around, maybe poke in a little bit here and there. Just play with this idea of being that little bit aggressive, as we do see the Adept there going to get picked off. Impact is going to finish up. Charge now completing as well. Upgrades coming through. Concussive shells just coming out. A few units coming in from that left-hand side. Colossi going to start lasering onto a chunk of this bio. Going to drop up into the main base. Maru trying to avoid the army. Obviously, if he gets behind the mineral line, probes are going to have to pull away. He's just going to sit and fight a few zealots. Talking about zealots, the zealots in his base as well. As the zealots have gone down here, he will get access to the mineral line, but it's not exactly going brilliantly. He does kill a Colossus, though, as he's on top of this base. What can he do in the tail end of this battle? As he's actually going to drop back down to the low ground. Does he have a way to kill the Colossi still, is my question. The zealots in the front, I think, are going to mean that he does not. There's just not an easy way to truly break through there. Or to safely break through without just, quite frankly, being overcommitted. Vikings land. That's all getting picked off as 29 SCVs dropped. In the end, if you look at what was done on both sides of the map, and you have to feel a little bit better for MaxPax. It definitely feels as though he has been the one to really shine in terms of what's been dealt. 29 SCVs, and he still has a couple of tech units of his own. MaxPax going to find Maru trying to drop, and now Maru will actually just unload his units defensively into the natural. There's a handful of Vikings left over. Maru has got an armor upgrade advantage going into this battle. He's already stimmed, so I think he's just going to double down on this chase. Prism is already warping in extra zealots, and the zealots from the left already looked terrifying. And that is going to be doing it. That's going to take us to Game 3 of MaxPax and Maru. Game 1 was all about Maru. Game 2 kind of felt good for Maru, like I said, with the of our series here. Kick this off. We start this off. It's all tied up. One's a piece. And in the bottom right-hand corner, it is going to be the Red Terran player from Onsite Gaming, Maru, to try close out this best of 3 and go 1-1 in this group after losing to Cyril. After losing to Showtime earlier. Again, maybe a spanner in the works already for him. There's going to be MaxPax looking for his first win of the group stage as well. It's kind of crazy. MaxPax and Cyril versus Maru on day 1 of the tournament is kind of bonkers, and obviously, like I say, with MaxPax having lost to Showtime, this group's going to be really fun to size up as we continue through the games. It's going to be getting very interesting as we figure out just how games are going to go and how everything's going to be looking. It's an exciting time as a couple of refineries come up. So it looks as though once again Maru are going to go for at least a little bit of pressure off the start instead of the super fast expansion. So that will be one little bit of something for us to watch out for here. Again, Rex coming up, gateway on the way. Getting ourselves set up for a few moments as we just have ourselves a cybernetics core coming through as well. And that probe heading down to the bottom right-hand corner, trying to pick up a little bit of information as well. Nibble, nibble. SCV and the probe will have a little bit of a fight as Maru is on his way to that factory. Probe allowed in, so just gets a full scout, confirms the factory is here. The kind of thing where it's like, you know, this is kind of the expectation and so on, but sometimes you never know. What if it's the game where it all gets proxied, right? So it is good just to have that kind of very rare possibility in the back of your mind, just kind of wiped out and be like, no, 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 it's definitely not that. You really don't have to worry about something as crazy as that this time. Which, of course, a lot of the time I think we kind of leap at those opportunities to play a little bit more standard, normalized games. At least for the first 3 minutes. These guys, you know, not afraid to kind of play like weirder games or, you know, games that go a little bit crazier, but I think for the first few minutes they're very happy just to not have proxies, not have something super wild to have to deal with. Both going to get to at least execute their first few minutes of the game plan, and from there can start interacting with the other and all the rest. Stargate, the choice once again from MaxPax. I was doing an errand about Another Reaper hopping up. Yeah, and I was doing an errand whether we're going to be talking about Phoenix or Blink here. It is going to turn out that it's actually going to be Phoenix once again. It's the the style that you kind of win the game with, so can't say we're too surprised by that. Should, I guess, a lot of the time be the expectation in these scenarios. That was pretty decent from MaxPax too. The only thing I would say is, again, I would have liked if some of the Phoenix didn't take as much damage as early. It's tough when Maru is cruising around the map and looking for those opportunities, but yeah, this healthier Phoenix usually means more chances for the Phoenix. Even if he didn't lose them in the end, maybe he still could have been even more active with them for longer if he hadn't taken all that damage at first. Anyways, again, that's a lot about the past. Now we're very much so in the present, and we're going to see our Cyclone and our Viking building up from Maru, so pretty good anti-Stargate setup once again as he just gets the units out that will typically help him to be nicely set in the first few moments. Have our Cyclone locking on. A couple of Phoenix will continue to get chased out of there for just a moment as well. Going to get pushed away as our medevac comes back through, collecting together once again with everything else. There is a Stalker on the way out and everything else just building for the first few moments of this. All lock on, Cyclone getting a little bit of damage done. Back and forth should continue here. As our Cyclones come through, locking on, and now we're just going to sit out the front. The Phoenix obviously hanging back. They can't really do much else. If this army commits, then maybe you can kind of make a bit more of a dive with the Phoenix and really try and do something else. But for the moment, and just sit back. We're heading down that bottom right side. Couple of racks. Plus one attack upgrade. All of this coming through. Just going to have another refinery. Building on the natural. And our Phoenix will fly into the natural as a couple of SCVs will begin to go down. 3, 4, 5. Cyclone was there to continue chasing those Phoenix and did push them out over to the far right. Back down into the center, just going to be seeing Stim Combat and +1 coming through. The Viking going to shut off a couple of Phoenix taking some damage, and Yeah, all of our upgrades from Maru just continuing up with the stim and the combat being the main part of what you'll be waiting for. Once those upgrades finish, you can really get across the map and play pretty aggressively here, I'd imagine. MaxPax's turn to with the Phoenix kind of hold Maru back a little bit. Again, +1 stim combat all coming through. A couple cyclones coming in, chasing the Phoenix. He's going to grab a couple more kills. He's going to see the rest of this army still coming out over to the left-hand side. Pushing towards the upper left. Cyclone lands. First Colossus, makes second Colossus. Gonna get Matrix. We killed the Raven, but a little bit too late. Super Battery will go down. Now the damage output goes onto the army. Doesn't feel like Maru is doing a lot of damage, but I guess there are units melting in the front lines. One of the two Colossi died. Army of MaxPax just chilling then back over this side. Charge coming up just about halfway through here. The couple barracks, the Widow Mines, everything just continuing through for the moment. As our Phoenix go back to the top once again, and it's going to be seen now. Maru just kind of warding off this army. I mean, resources lost coming out of that one just favor MaxPax a little bit, so MaxPax finding the defense. Maru just now getting his third set up. MaxPax immediately starts to move towards his fourth. Engineering Bay, Armory coming out, missile turret building, and you see the forces gathering toward the third for the moment as our Phoenix go back over the left-hand side. Again, Prism +1, Templar Archives all coming out, the Forge as well on the way through here. As we do get a little lift, knocking down a Widow Mine. And this army of Maru gathering out the front as we clean up a little bit in the center. A couple of Vikings are coming out, the Marines are still coming through. Our armor upgrade finishing at +2 starting. MaxPax ready to come around this right-hand side, maybe dive down toward the bottom corner. Don't know if MaxPax can succeed too easily if Maru is set up defensively, especially as Maru is already in position to deal with the Zealots in the main. That's not going to be a problem. He's not going to lose a thing. And a couple of Vikings will help to ward the Prism off as well, so that might be something you have to rebuild in the end as MaxPax. He tried to turn back in with it, but the Vikings were there. We'll check on that in a moment. For now, this main fight, perhaps about to break out. Looks like the Prism did survive as well. Just a quick check on that one. Loses its shields, but gets out alive is obviously pretty nice because now it's ready to go back again at a moment's notice instead of having to build a new one, which would delay Disruptor production. Obviously, that's not something you want to have happening. Vikings come in. Prism going to get knocked down immediately. As the 2-2 upgrades are about halfway done. Still having our army of MaxPax pressing at the front. A Widow Mine will go down to start us off. Knocking down an Observer, and whilst I still deal some damage, Marines still dishing out the hurt to the Phoenix as our Zealots are going to go diving towards the natural. And, well, again, MaxPax trying to pull Maru around a little bit. Maru generally has been pretty well prepared thus far, but this might be the moment where things change up a little bit. 4 SCVs going down, as you have a few more Zealots just coming into this mineral line. Maru, I think, still going to have a pretty okay defense. Yes, a few SCVs lost. In general, just down a lot of SCVs. Wonder if as he hits Ghosts in 2-2, he has any intentions of pushing across the map. Problem is, if you want to be the aggressor into the defensive position of MaxPax, you're now playing against Disruptors, and that's obviously going to make life a whole bunch tougher, because Disruptors are going to be extremely good at holding you off, and just not letting you kind of get through there as Maru, so Also kind of a factor. Eye on the center. Marauder going to grab a Zealot on the right-hand side. Well, Maru's defended, gonna get maxed out, and again with all of his tech units, he might be able to move around the map. Like I said, don't think he's gonna be able to make like an aggressive push into a position. There's a stim up here. That disruptor shot gonna land for quite a few units. Next two disruptor shots coming through as well. The Colossus. Well, one of those goes down immediately. Zealots on the right side gonna get picked away at. Fire coming back through. A few Stalkers going down. The Zealots are getting picked off. Another Colossus does go down as well, so again, a pretty good job of this. So our Disruptors continue in production. Maru still sitting on the 2-2 upgrades. But has the armor upgrades over his opponent. Once again, he's the player that's losing SCVs throughout this game. That might just be something he has to stay on top of here, something he has to be very cautious of as we continue to advance onwards. MP goes down. Disruptor shot is not going to land on these few units. This time he hits his own Zealot, maybe a Marauder. Actually hits the double, goes on the right. Maru ran into it. Oh my goodness, he's running into all the Disruptor shots. That is not a good start to this trade. If Maru believed he had enough to fight this, he probably is now on a little bit of a different scenario because he really ate big Disruptor hits starting out this battle. And he does okay. Zealot showing up on the left side once again during this. But again, the Disruptors that are really powering MaxPax through. MaxPax looking to be the player to move on to a 1-1 scoreline, and Maru is going to start this competition 0-2. There's a real world where Maru gets knocked out in group stages, guys. I mean, Gumiho's beaten Maru recently. That could happen again. There's a whole realm of possibility here. As it does look as though MaxPax is going to clear this one for a 2-1 victory. Disruptor shots are good on all of these SCVs, the bio units in general. Thank you very much, says MaxPax. We'll take those. And yeah, he's going to close this one out. What a fantastic kind of series, because he really got stomped in game one as well. Maru really just had absolutely no intentions of letting MaxPax play the game, but MaxPax can rebound from that and get going in that